Hello and welcome back. The premise here at FM23 Roleplay is that we create a 15-year-old American kid from scratch using FM's player editor. We give him a 200 potential rating and we follow him throughout his entire career. We will not coach any club and we will not interfere by using the in-game editor. Our test subject, Mr. Henry Marshall, he's now 16 years old and he's starting for St. Louis City, an expansion MLS team. But can he do better? Let's tell his story. Well, after 7 games, and we'll take a peek right here if we can. Find our guy here. There he is. And St. Louis City. Yes. Western Conference. There we go. St. Louis City is now 4 wins, 3 losses, no draws, 12 points. Good enough for fifth in the MLS Western Conference. St. Louis City could go to the playoffs. Yowza. And he's also picked up a second cap. Right there, 2 under 20 caps from the U.S. under 20 national team. So international play is a possibility. But before we pick up on the games, let's look at his life outside of football, the part of his life that the football manager doesn't control. Now, Henry's sister Maggie is now 18 years old, and she had been waiting on an acceptance from one of the 8 elite colleges she had applied for. And well, she thought her applications were great, but out of the 8 schools, 7 of them rejected her. Her dream school, which was Duke University, put her on a waiting list. So she wouldn't know if Duke accepted her until early May. Now, Fred and Karen, who are Henry's parents, they reached out to Henry. And they said, they were talking and they said, it's probably not Maggie's case that she's going to end up a scholarship student. Duke's not offering her anything. So this left her and them to pay for college either in the fall or if Duke rejected her at the beginning of 2024 to whatever school she went to. Maggie could have perhaps $250,000 in student loans to pay off. Now, the parents said that Fred Jr. and Sean, the 2 older brothers, they were still paying off their student loans, even though Freddie and P were kind of closer to the end of the cycle. And both of those guys were just past 30. Combined, the 2 older brothers probably had about $75,000 in debt left to pay. It was then that Henry's father let Henry in on the family secret. I mean, even though Freddie Jr. was a TV writer in Los Angeles, he wasn't that successful at it. Well, either that or he was living the LA lifestyle. As for Fred and Karen themselves, they were about $170,000 in debt. But he'd always heard his parents complain about money. But Henry had never really been ever told the true state of the family's finances. And now he knew. So his question was, being a good son, what can you do to help them? Well, he knew he made $84,000 a year with his MLS salary. After taxes, that was about 58 grand a year. But he didn't care. He was a 16-year-old kid making 58 grand a year. And he had maybe touched about $5,000 of that since they started paying him. So he thought about, maybe he should offer his parents some of that money. How much? I mean, it wasn't a tithe, like 10% of your money. Even one of his religion classes at Loyola College Prep in Shreveport. So he said, okay, I'll take 10% of $84,000 and round that up. And he offered his parents $10,000. And he told them to take that money and lay it off any of their expenses. They took it. Now, they offered to pay him back at some future date, but he declined that. He said, this is a gift. Hopefully, he'd make a lot more than that in the future. But he figured, though, that once he turned 18, he should probably get his own bank account. Because, $10,000 is nothing against $500,000 in debt. There was some small part of him, a small part that was uncomfortable to admit it, that hoped that Maggie didn't go to Duke and chose, say, LSU, which was cheaper. Well, I'd like to introduce you to some of the important people on the St. Louis City team. The first person is the captain of the club. That's Roman Bürki, a 32-year-old goalkeeper from Switzerland. He is the best player at St. Louis City, and he is the only untradeable player, basically, at St. Louis. There he is, right there. Now, he's played among other locations with the Grasshoppers Club in Switzerland and Borussia Dortmund in Germany, and he's won honors with both clubs. Now, this is a man who's been open about his struggles with confidence, mental health issues. He's revealed to the press that he has worked with mental health coaches in the past. This is sort of a sign of a new era in world football. This is one in which mental health issues aren't hidden, but are treated like any other medical condition. And the other player I want to introduce you to is the vice captain. Roman's the captain. Here's Tim Parker. He is the 30-year-old vice captain of St. Louis City. But before he was a soccer player, he was a lacrosse player. But he gave up lacrosse to play college soccer at St. John's University, where he majored in finance. You can even find his his LinkedIn resume there. He played as a central defender for Vancouver. He won a Canadian championship with Vancouver, and he won a supporter shield for the New York Red Bulls. And he has a reputation of being a solid, aggressive, defender. He's also a newlywed, and he and his wife Kelsey are expecting a baby boy in August of 2023. Among his hobbies are golf. Incidentally, he also happens to be the MLS union representative for St. Louis City. Well, I believe I've caught you up with Henry's life. I think we should now devote some time to his life as a player. I'm going to play through a few of these games. I'll stop if anything interesting happens, either with his domestic, club St. Louis or internationally with the under 20 team. So let's go ahead and move the timeline up. And we are back, and you're now to May 20th, 2023. As we can see, St. Louis City has 24 points, goal differential 4. They are in fifth place in the Western Conference. They are still competing. Let's take a look at St. Louis City, and let's look particularly at the schedule. So, we're going to start right here with this game against Colorado, a 2-0 win. Henry had a pretty good game there. He had like a 7.2 in that one. Colorado was ranked 13th at the time in the Western Conference. Following that one, there was another 1-0 win against Orlando City. He had a 6-8 in that one. Carranza, this man right here, I can find him. Julian Carranza, yeah. Carranza had a goal in the first minute of that game, and with Roman Bürki in goal, that was all they really needed. Then we go to New England. New England, that was a 1-0 win for St. Louis. Henry had a 6.6 game. That's the fourth straight clean sheet note by St. Louis. And Bürki was named the goalkeeper. Bürki was named on the team of the week. This game also lost Bruce Arena his job at New England. They were at the bottom of the Eastern Division, and after that he would later be replaced by Javier Perez. Loudoun United, the Open Cup third round. They were playing a team from Leesburg, Virginia. It's not associated with DC United, but it's a team near United. That game ended 1-1 on penalties, but the club advanced 4-3 and penalties. Penalty. Henry Marshall was injured in the 90th minute of that game, but it was just a minor injury. Certainly nothing to take him off the roster. But fullback Risky later, see the injury here. He had an ankle injury, took him out of a few games there. Then we go to the 29th here. Austin. Now here they've kind of had a rough spot right now. Austin, they go on the road to Austin, lose 1-2 against them. But Marshall had a good game there, 7.0. He's never had a horrible game yet. We move into May, the game against Colorado. There's a loss, 0-2. Um, it's also not a great game from Marshall. Not a disaster, but certainly a very poor game from him. No, I'm wrong. I had 6-7. I misread it out of my notes as 6-1 here. Goes to San Jose. It's their most recent win, 3-0. Uh, Edouard Leuven. Lewin was named as the player of the week. I don't know. Okay, I don't even see him anywhere here. Uh, Maybe I'm just kind of going, there he is. There's Lewin in midfield. 8.0 had a goal that he was named the team of the week after that game. So then we had a little bit of trouble after that game. Chicago, this is a loss 1-2 in extra time. Roman Berkey, the captain, the goalkeeper, the irreplaceable guy, he had pulled ligaments in that game, and that took him out for about a couple of weeks. Wasn't a great game for him anyway. And then the game against Inter Miami, that was a two goalkeeper game itself, a 1-3 loss. Isaac Walker, who came in that game for St. Louis City, he had a 5-2 horrible game. Marshall 6-7. Still pretty good there. They brought in Ben Lunt in the last 3 minutes. It was his very first appearance at goalkeeper. Other things going on in the league. Christian Matanzio was fired by Charlotte. They were in 13th place. Last year, Charlotte had actually won the US Open Cup. Now they're in 14th. They decided that there had to be some kind of change made there. And let's see if we can find out where he got fired. But I don't think they hired anybody for that spot yet. Some changes. Veljko Palinovic, he was hired at LA Football Club after Steven Cherundolo was fired. LA Football Club, they were in 14th place after that firing. Benjamin Galino came in Charlotte. He came in. He took over. Galindo, took place in Charlotte. Nick Cushing's job in New York Football Club, is rumored to be in jeopardy. They may be making replace NYCFC. And a note that St. Louis City manager Bradley Carnell was let go of. He's had experience with NYCFC. Hopefully, they're not going to try to poach the manager there. And we go to Inter Miami. We mentioned that one, a 1-3 loss. So Henry's been hanging in there. He's had a couple of good games. Like I said, this great games, not spectacular games, but a 7-2, against Colorado. He had the 7-0 and the loss to Austin. Most like 6-6, 6-7, 6-8. The worst was that 6-2 game. So he is still hanging around. And we will try to move him forward a little bit more. Okay? I'm going to add a couple of things, one from Henry's personal life and one from the game. If we try to find some news here, the USA Under 20 squad has been announced. As regards the French Youth Invitational in France, involving 12 international under 20 teams. The squad has been announced, and Henry was not invited to take part in that. So he will continue playing at St. Louis City. And the other thing is, it's the 20th, on the 19th, Maggie Marshall, his older sister, graduated from Caddo Magnet High School in Shreveport, Louisiana. Unfortunately, Henry had to prepare for that game. He could not make his sister's graduation. He sent some money to her though, so she was not forgotten, and called her, and everything is okay. Hopefully, they'll see each other soon. We'll continue now. Okay, let's move on to where are we here? Our little guy. He's resting. The 15th of June, 2023, and we'll just look at a few games from St. Louis City here. Get to the schedule. And over the last 6 games, they've kind of gone stagnant. 4 draws here. We have a 0-0 draw here against Minnesota United. Henry had a 6-9 game in that one. There was a win against Vancouver. Vancouver in 13th place in the West. 1-0 win. He had a 7-3 game. A very, very good game in this. And Joa Klaus here, he scored in the 17th second. As you can see, Marshall's game right there. Then against 11th place Charlotte, they actually lost that game on the road 0-2. Jared Stroud, he strained his calf muscle. See if we can find him here. We can't. Maybe it was this game. There he is, right there. Jared Stroud injured his calf muscle, so he'll be out for a little bit. Home game against Nashville. 1-1 draw. 3 draws in a row here. 1-1 against Nashville. 2-2 in a rematch against Vancouver, and 1-1 against number 2 Seattle in the Western Conference. Not great games for Henry. 6-5, 6-4, and 6-7. In this Vancouver game, we have Lubin 7-6, had an assist in that game, but now he is hurt with a groin strain. You can get the window flash up here. Yep, 9 days and 3 weeks. So not all that great. There was an attempt for a trade with St. Louis is from San Jose. They were offering, San Jose was offering a first round pick of the Super Draft in 2025. They wanted one of St. Louis's international player slots. They didn't get it. Nick Cushing was finally fired at New York City Football Club. Jeff Marsh took his job. Pablo Ricchetti, he was fired at Dallas, which is at the very bottom of the Western Conference. He was fired. Caleb Porter lost his job at Portland. Oscar Perea took that position. Vandy Sartini, I think that's his name, Vandy Sartini. He was fired by 13th place Vancouver. And look at the gap here. 34 points, 5 from CF Montreal versus 20 by New England. 34 by the Galaxy versus 14 by Dallas. Even in the top 8, there's not a lot of gap. Really, there's just a lot of parity right now in Major League Soccer. This is why St. Louis, an expansion team, could be in 3rd place. In the West, only 3 off of the leading LA Galaxy. Who knows? St. Louis could win the Western Conference, maybe even win the Supporters' Shield with a run of luck. But Henry has these last few games for Henry haven't been all that great, and that's where we're going to wrap it up. End it right there. And anyway, if you like what you hear or what you see, make a comment or hit the like and or subscribe button. Until next time.